and being and becoming and growing and moving, and then life gets real. Like life just falls apart.
So for the audience, they don't know exactly what you're talking about. This episode is going to be quite unique. Um, Let me talk to Vincent. What is this episode about?
It's pretty much about two people who got together, broken people at that, and decided to do what was right in the church, as far as come together with vows and get married, and thought that they were going to live this thing out all the way to the end, and we came to a dead end.
This episode is sadly titled.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're talking to you guys about the Dear Future Wifey season 5, episode 5, episode. You guys, some of you tagged me, guys. Some of you guys messaged me on Insta and said review this. I had a few people reach out to me and said review this. So I decided to watch like the first 20 minutes. I didn't watch it all the way through. I think I listened to the first 30 minutes. I'm gonna be honest with you. Heish. Listen, and so I titled this video, Did He Break You or Did You Break Yourself? Now, you guys know I'm uber intense about accountability. And when I listened to the first 30 minutes, I said, yep, he was broken, and so was she. Because you were broken enough to stay for 12 years in a marriage, you was broken. It had nothing to do with him. If you felt like he never loved you, he never cared about you, you were broken, and you also have to take responsibility. So, I listen. I always like to listen. We can nuke the men here, and I always will nuke the men. But I always say this is why it takes two to tango. Just like when I felt like a girl played me, I took all accountability for my own behavior as to why did I stay for so long. Why did I allow myself to be in that space for so long? Now, there are quintessential reasons as to why I stayed that long. Absolutely. And those reasons are valid and they are just for why I did what I did. But we still take accountability, right? So, we're gonna dive into this. It's gonna be tense. I'm telling you this now. We're gonna listen to probably the first 20, 30 minutes of this. It's gonna be tense. It's gonna be an interesting affair. So strap up, get your popcorn, get your pen and paper. Let's get into this.
So you never felt love in the how many years of marriage?
12.
12 years of marriage, you never felt love. Vincent, do you feel like you showed her love in those 12 years?
Based on what I was trying to do, I felt that way. But according to her, I wasn't meeting her expectations.
So when you say based on what you were trying to do, explain that. What were you trying to do?
Pretty much what I only knew how to do is, well, I'm going to rephrase that. Do what I only thought to do.
Which is what?
Just, pay the bills, make sure that, be the provider, make sure that, the household was held up, and, do my best to, give her the attention that I thought that she needed, but it wasn't the way that she wanted it.
So when you look...
Now, first and foremost, can I say this straight away? A lot of men, we know it on the channel already, we spoke about this before, a lot of men equate financial provision as love, right? A lot of men equate their financial provision as love. And they believe that their financial provision is their duty and that's their job done. But relationships are about so much more. Now, we're going to listen to the story and the parts that I heard. 12 years, no love, okay? 12 years not feeling no love, okay? Now, of course, there's going to be other influences such as church, your religion, your faith, and everything like that will stop you from divorcing in a relationship like this. That's why partly they probably stayed so long. But also as well, I would say that 12 years no love, I got to ask a key question. You weren't getting nothing that you wanted for 12 years. Why stay so long? Or at least, why not separate, right? And that will reveal also some of the reasons why she also, I believe, is broken too. Because let me just say this now. Of course, listen, this story is going to get madder about how he basically flipped on the wedding night. And let me just say this now. Unless he's a whole cold artist narcissist, he did not change on the wedding night. He changed before then. Can I be honest with you? Like, it's very rare have I ever heard a story from somebody and where after the wedding night, that's when they completely changed. No, after the wedding night is when the true mask all the way fell off. But it's very rare that after a marriage, that's when they decided to go AWOL. AWOL was always existing pre that. So what were we not seeing? What signs were we not picking up? What red flags were we missing before then? But let's listen to what he has to say, because the 12 years to the marriage, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I titled this video, Did He Break You or Did You Break Yourself? You know what I mean? Let's get into this.
Look at that. And for you to say that you never loved her in the whole 12 years of marriage, how many years did y'all date prior to that? 2 years?
About 18 months.
18 months. So for roughly 14 years.
And hold on, pause as well. First of all, shout out to both of these two as well, because look, I probably should have started the video on that way as well. These two have been, have taken a hit by showing their relationship or their past relationship to us, to have the ability to critique and to judge. And I appreciate that, because we can learn something from it. So this is not a judgment to condemn or to bash or to reduce them. Rather, this is more of a critique for anybody to almost use it as a case study and see, hey, look, we can learn from these things, right? We can learn from these things. Now, back to the video. 12 years, he never loved you. He never loved you. Woo, this is deep.
Vincent, you felt like you never truly loved your wife.
I thought that I was showing love in the beginning, but I had like an epiphany, if you want to call it that, this year. And, with the fasting, once I did the fasting in the beginning, I had some time to really sit and think on some things, because I wanted to get every year in the beginning of the year, I tend to try to fast or try to get a sense of direction from God, to see where I need to be.
Now, this is interesting, right? 12 years, no love. Every year he prayed, he fasted, and he asked God for direction. This is very similar. Notorious said the same thing, right? He said every year he would pray. He was cheating on his wife, and he said the same thing. Every year he would go into prayer, saying to the Lord, New Year, da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm going to say this again, something that I learned, right? The spiritual man is not the emotional man. Let me say it again for you. The spirit man isn't the emotional man. Because a lot of times in Christianity, we mix the spirit man with the emotional man, or I should say the soulish man. And this is why church has a big responsibility of preaching and teaching people about relationships outside of the concept of spirituality. What I mean by that is, stop talking about the spirit man. He's got a great spirit. Yes, he has, but does he know? Has he healed? Has he healed? Has he dealt with his own soul inflictions? Has he dealt with that? Because we see it in the Bible all the time. My lovely one example is David. Me and David, we close because me and David, we're very similar, right? Me and David are very, very similar. And what I've learned from David, especially, is just listen to that story. Everyone looks at what he at the end and says, "Oh my God, he took Bathsheba and killed another person," but what they don't focus on is the relationship with his father, Jesse, the fact that he was left in the field, the fact that he went to talk to his brothers literally banished him from the family, which means he hasn't got a good relationship with his brothers either. This is a soulish issue, but God saw the spirit man, right? We have a duty to ourselves to heal the emotional man. So whenever you date within Christendom, ladies and gentlemen, please don't look at just the spirit man. The spirit man's easy. You can see it. He's a person that loves God. He's a person that, praises God. He's at the top of the church. You know what? He is given grace and thanks and just all of that stuff. And you know what? He's ministering. He's anointed. He's powerful, or she's powerful. Prophet of God, speaking oracles from heaven. Don't mix the spirit man with the soulish man. Don't mix the two, right? Don't mix the two, because the two are not conjoined. The two can marry, but the two also, we operate in those particular spheres. You know what I mean? I can be anointed in the word, but then my character, even the way I behave, or my ability to love, my understanding, my knowledge, my wisdom, maybe lacking in certain areas. You know what I mean? So let's not marry the spirit man alone. Let's marry the spirit man, the soul man too, okay? Or the soul woman as well, all right? Let's look beyond just the spiritual means, because you see, Moses is somebody, yeah, spiritually, but in the relationship, number one, he has to spend 40 days in the mountains. Nobody thought about how his family would be okay with that. I know God called it to. Please don't get me. I'm not cursing God. I'm saying, but 40 days. It's a long time to be without your family. And then later on, we find out that Moses didn't tell his wife Zipporah to do the foreskin cutting, the circumcision, right? There was poor leadership in that moment. Why? Because Moses to himself, okay, there were certain aspects of Moses that needed healing emotionally. The brother had been abandoned by his family, but then he knew his mom because his mom then looked after him while he was in Egypt. And then he had I wouldn't even say an identity crisis. He came to his revelation that he's not one of the Egyptians, ended up killing an Egyptian, had to leave, okay, and then come and start a whole new life with somebody who, let's be honest, Zipporah was not a Christian. Wasn't a Jew. So why he was looking at her, we don't know why. But when your heart is longing, your heart's longing. Do you get me? There's a lot of things that happen. So soul man and the spirit man are not the same in this case. But the spirit man will influence the soul man. But let's be very honest. If you're not in the spirit 24/7, it's going to be a long time. But this lady's in pain. You can tell by her body language. The way she was shutting her eye, I was speaking, I knew it was tough. Anyway, let's get back in.
And this year I ended up fasting. I know we told you that it went on the call, or the Instagram call. We talked about how we both did the fast, and I was the only one fasting. And then I wasn't fasting properly, so I had to kind of do it the right way with good intentions. And once I did that with good intentions, God began to speak to me and show me that you need to be real with yourself, first of all. And once you be real with yourself, then you can be real with her. And that's how me going to her, telling her I never loved her came about.
So telling her you never loved her, what did you want out of that? Were you saying, hey, I want to be honest with you and then we build from there? Or I want to tell you I never loved you and that's why we need to get a divorce?
That was the introduction. And I think I did it in the wrong way, because then like a week later, I ended up putting emphasis on what I meant. And that didn't change anything, because she kept, she went by what I said. I never loved her.
So when you said, what did you mean by that then?
I meant that, and we always talk about it, that I didn't know I was broken. So I tend to always date with wrong intentions.
Nah, he needs to say it. Okay, do you want me to say it? Oh no, let me say it for y'all. Let me say it for you. Okay. He almost said it, but I think he held back because he wanted to be true. And maybe I'm wrong about this, right? He said, you know what? I was broken, so I always date. And then he stopped and he said, I date with bad intentions. No. You date, and you date other broken people. Can I be honest with you? It wasn't bad intentions, right? And I'll tell you why it wasn't bad intentions. Because later on, when he asks him about intentions, he says, no, my intentions, I wasn't trying to conquer her. I wasn't trying to play her. My intentions weren't that at all. My intentions weren't bad. So it's not that he dates bad intentions. He didn't want to say it, because I think he feels like he might feel that the gravity of what he's about to say sounds worse. No, she broken, bro. And you chose a broken person. It's not that you were hunting for her per se, but broken people find their level. Right? And we all do it. Like sometimes, okay, for instance, I remember, when I was not really being honest about my emotional attachment issues, right? My emotional devoidance. Like I'm emotionally devoid sometimes. Like I like to keep distance from people, right? I also chose people, the people that I really liked, the girls that I really, really liked, I liked girls that were equally as distant as I was. Because I couldn't handle if you were to come too close to me, because I feel like you're being too much, right? I was dating within my brokenness. See, that my brokenness in that area, I wanted to find my level. I didn't want to date somebody who has the opposite of what I have. No. I want to date my level. Give me space. Until one day I dated somebody and it different. It was mad. It taught me I'm not doing that again, right? And I need to heal, right? So now, and that aspect of me, all right, was leading me to broken girls. I wanted girls that would argue with me. It's a brokenness. I was choosing girls in subconsciously but unconsciously. I was choosing women that would argue with me and get into tough arguments, because when we get back after the argument, that love that we feel, what I really wanted was to feel desired and loved and cared, and you know that I liked the argument because, you know, I liked to debate and everything, but then I liked us later on to make up and kiss, and actually really it was a form of brokenness, right? It's a form of toxicity that I got used to. And I would choose a partner based on that. I keep saying it to you guys. You will only choose according to how you see. If you see brokenness, you will choose brokenness.
And even though the intentions that I wanted to be with someone was right at that time, but I needed healing. I needed to heal from all the past relationships that I had. And I thought that, you get in God and you get saved and, you feel good about yourself and you feel like you're already there. But that's the process. And I didn't know that I was still within the process of him, changing my heart and healing things that I caused on myself.
So how old are you?
40.
And so y'all got married when you were what, 28?
27?
So 27, 28. And
just quickly as well, listen, you know what? Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes, Jesus, sometimes we use Jesus as a cover up for the healing that needs to take place. Like, we expect Jesus to heal everything, like our emotional wounds. That is a work that we do here on earth. We do that work ourselves. Not saying that we don't include Jesus. I'm saying sometimes what happens is we think that Jesus is going to heal that part when we get saved. And salvation is spirit work. The salvation is spirit work. And some people, a collective of people, get saved and get healed also emotionally. A lot of us get saved, we don't get healed emotionally. There's work that needs to be done. Do you see what I'm saying? So not everyone gets that package where they get the emotional healing too. A lot of us don't. You got anger issues, you got abandonment issues, you got father issues, you got mother issues. You know what I mean? Like, those things just don't go away for a lot of us as Christians when we get saved, but we don't get told that. We don't get told that. We don't get told that. We don't get told that these aspects need to be also healed. Someone said Jesus does heal. I didn't say that he didn't heal. I said there's a bunch of us who, when you get saved, Jesus or the Holy Spirit will heal you, okay, all right, in the area of both salvation, and then some people will get the emotional healing. Their anger goes, their abandonment issue goes, all of that stuff. There's only a bunch of those people, but the rest of us have got work to do. You actually have to work on yourself, and you actually have to work on these aspects of your character and your behavior and your past traumas. Not everyone gets Jesus to come in and just and take everything from them. A lot of us are on the journey that God needs to heal those aspects of us, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, and sometimes we cover it with Jesus, by saying, I'm saved. You are saved, but sir, there's work to be done. There is work to be done.
So I got married at 28. That's why I said I know why God brings, yeah. So you got married at 28, 27, 28. That's how old I was when I got married. And you reached this point in your life and you said you began to fast. God began to unlock some things in you. And you said you went back and you realized that you weren't healed from relationships in the past. When you say relationships, what type of relationships? Dating relationships, relationship as it involved parents or siblings or friends, or what damage was caused in order for you to take a vow at 28, then get to 40, well, actually 39, because I talked to you on your birthday, about 39 and say, hey, listen, I think I've never loved my wife and I want to make a move out of this marriage. What brokenness are you referring to?
Not, when you grow up and you don't have a father in the home, you try to search for identity. As a kid, I always look for who I am, what I'm here for. I always had that thought. And I look towards people and I mimic them, the qualities of who they were. And so I always tend to do that in my life as growing up. Even in high school, the jocks on the team, I always looked at them and try to mimic them so I can get the girls and do all the things that, that looks glamorous in my eyes when, they're on the campus or they're playing football or doing whatever. I thought that they were, the top, like the idols. So I always look at people instead of looking at myself and loving myself. I always look at people being better than me. If that makes sense.
I understand it.
Boy, that's tough right there. So he's talking about, insecurity and also how he aligns himself in terms of his what? Masculinity. And you know what? I told you, guys, what did I say? Didn't I do that? What was the first video I did for you guys about what my father taught me? The very first thing I told you he taught me about was identity. Without a father, men for the most, because their identity gets robbed from them. Then they have to look outside the world to find identity. So without any male figures, prominent male figures in your life, you're learning from what you see outwardly. And if you have wrong influences, then you got wrong instructions and wrong tuition. And therefore, in that moment, identity is lost, which is why I believe that, you know what? Well, we follow God's suit. So God calls himself the Father, because out of the Father comes the identity of who we are. You know what I mean? Of course, it's through Jesus Christ, where our identity is based on Jesus Christ. But that father figure is needed because it creates the identity for the family. It creates identity for the children. You know what I mean? And so this is why it's so important that men of every generation, that they actually do the work, so they make sure, because I carry an identity of my father. I've got the authoritarian spirit of my dad. I can see it. It comes through sometimes, you know what I mean? The sternness sometimes, you know what I mean? The wisdom sometimes that he brings, I've got the same thing. There are so many characteristics that I've seen of him that I have in myself. The identity in terms of what I feel is right and wrong and what I like. So they're all built from spending time with or without or watching him. So father figures are so important. So I'm not saying don't marry somebody that doesn't have a father figure. I'm saying find out what their thought process and what their ideology is. You know what I mean? Find that out. Also as well, there are key questions we should be asking each other, like how do you deal? I remember I was talking to one young lady and we had a really great conversation about how do we deal with certain situations? Like what's our natural instinct? Because that would give me an indication of what to do next. Like, do you know what? Maybe not. That's not for me, right? And also during the dating phase, I'm sorry. If they dated for 2 years, there must have been, unless this guy is a cold-blooded actor, there must have been cracks and leaks that were shown, right? But I'm going ahead of myself anyway. But listen,
I want to check in with you, Prevalia. What are you feeling right now?
I feel like this is fake. And I feel like it's fake because a lot of what he's saying didn't line up with what went on in our marriage. I felt like a conquest. I felt like because I was a prophetic watchman, I was on fire for God, I was, being about my father's business, he targeted me. That's how I felt. It's one of those situations where you just like, because I could, when I first met him, I couldn't stand him. And I couldn't stand him because I didn't like his spirit. His spirit was a usury spirit. And his spirit, like he reminded me of everything I didn't like about my father.
Hold on. What we're not going to do is avoid accountability. Okay? We're going to take some accountability. Okay? We're going to take some accountability. Accountability. I say it every single time to you guys. You guys know I'm not blind. It always comes up, right? That if you ignore the blatant red flags, there's no one else to blame but you. You're not angry at him. You're angry at yourself. Right? You're angry at yourself. And why? Why did you... The bigger question is, you have to ask yourself, why did I continue? That's where the work is. The work is, why did I continue? She's still, you can feel it. She's still angry at him for having a usury spirit, but you saw the usury spirit and still went ahead. Take accountability. That's what I'm saying. I know it sounds harsh, and because something that my dad, one thing that my dad drilled into me, yeah, and thank God. At first I didn't like it. one of the things he said, listen, I don't like I don't like lies. If you do something, tell me you did it, and tell the truth. You know what I mean? And he would say to me, listen, look, you have to be accountable. You can't just be doing anything anyhow. You understand? Yeah, it's your life. If you don't take account of your life, you will miss up your own life. When I pass and I go, it's you and you alone. That's what he used to tell me. When I pass and I go, it's you and you alone. There's no one else. It'll be you. So every time when I look at these situations, I say to myself, there's no way that you do 2 years, you never saw anything come up. And then you date for 12 and say he suddenly changed. We got to take accountability, baby. You got to take accountability. You're angry at yourself. And I know, because I've not maybe been married, but I've been in a relationship where I've ignored red flags, and I just went ahead. I disobeyed what I heard. I disobeyed my own instinct. I disobeyed God, and I was angry at the end, but not at the person, at myself. Because how could I miss up? I was angry at the person too, don't get twisted, but majority of the anger was at myself, you know. But let's listen.
So I was like, I ain't got nothing, you know. It's just like I just stayed away from him. And in the course of time, he pursued me, and I really don't even understand how I even fell for it today, right? You know, hindsight, of course, it's 2020, but I don't understand how I even fell for it, because I saw his spirit, right? And so, like, with me, I always was the type where you know, like, I want to help people, right? That was like, and it's when you're anointed, that's what happens. Like, when you grow up and there's an anointing on your life, you know, you have to learn how to grow in the anointing. And so a part of my anointing is the gift of helps. And so a lot of times when that happens, you can, you know, somebody can come in and they can abuse the anointing, because that's a part of who you are. It's just natural. And so it was interesting, because when he first came up to me, I was not going to talk to him. And then the reason I talked to him is because he started shaking. And so when he started shaking.
Okay, so can I say something, right? I agree that there are people that will try to suck the life out of you. But here's the thing. Sometimes broken people are searching for healing unconsciously, and they see your light, they see your ability to heal, and they come to you wanting healing. Now, their thought process is, maybe I should get into a relationship with you because no one else has given me this love and this affection that I've felt from anybody else. But you're also misreading what you're supposed to do in that moment, right? See, I know this. She talking about user spirit. I know what spirit you're carrying. People pleasing. That ain't growing into the anointing. People pleasing. Let's call it what it is. Yeah. This psychology and our faith, they're not mismatching. Our psychology and faith, they don't clash. They don't clash. Psychology and faith do not clash. They work together. Sis, you weren't grown in your anointing. It was you being, as someone has put there, an empath. You were you were sensitive to feelings. And I think most people that are prophets are empaths. Can I be honest with you? I think most people that are empaths are prophets, because they've been given a gift to feel and to sense not only people's emotions, but to sense how the world is shifting and it's moving. Right? You know, I don't call myself a prophet, but with my empathic spirit, I also sense when God is shifting things and moving things. I can feel it. And since I sense people as well. Now, the reason why he was drawn to you is because you have a healing spirit. As an empath, as a prophet, you have a healing spirit. He wasn't trying to conquer you. You know what I mean? He wasn't trying to overcome you. What he saw was somebody who could contain what he was feeling. Right? He wanted somebody to contain what you're feeling in that moment. And so now he comes to you, and what you should have been doing, and I know this because I've done this, what you should have been doing is, yes, you should help, but you should help from a distance as a friend. Because the reason why in that moment that you can't remember why you fell for it is because you lied to yourself. You see, you don't want to tell the truth. I'll tell the truth for you. I know it sounds harsh, but I want to be real. The reason why she can't remember why she fell for it is because she lied to herself. And in that moment, you blocked off what you were actually hearing. You lied to yourself. That's why you can't remember, right? Just the same way in psychology, when someone goes through trauma and the body and the mind locks away that memory so that you don't have the effects of that trauma affecting you every second. But the leaks keep coming out. It keeps leaking out. You lied to yourself in that moment and forgot what the mission was. The mission wasn't to be in a relationship. If we're going by what she said, which is you knew he had a usury spirit from the very beginning. If that is the case, then you were never supposed to really enter that relationship. You were supposed to do what you're supposed to do, which is help and stay afar as a friend. That's it. Yeah? That's it. So that's why I said accountability. It's not the anointing. You see, we over spiritualize things. We're doing what Moses is in the heavens every day. Now, Moses got to come down. The anointing that you carry must not. This is why in Luke 2, I think it's Luke 2:52, I always say this scripture because every day, I remember my dad used to talk about this a lot. Even Jesus had to grow. I said, oh, look at him like, what do you mean Jesus had to grow? Even Jesus had to learn how to be on earth. He had to learn the ways of man so that he could dwell amongst men and maneuver. That's why he started his ministry at 33 or 30. Right? At 30. You see what I'm saying? Right? Someone said, why do I always blame the victim? Because as a victim, there's something you could do to avoid being a victim. Simple as. There's something you can do to stop being a victim here. You need not be a victim in this situation. That's why I'm telling you, I'm talking about it. We have a whole channel dedicated to unearthing the bad boy tactics. I've told you, you know what I mean? So, to save people, I got to tell you, listen. And a lot of times, you're not a victim. And this is another thing as well. A lot of times, you are not a victim. A lot of times, the only victim is you're a victim of your own naivety and ignorance and lies. Sometimes you are even a perpetrator against yourself. There is no victim. You perpetrate against yourself. You betray yourself because you know that you shouldn't do certain things. So yes, I get it. You know, I understand that sometimes, you know, that people may feel like we're not trying to go for the victim, but sometimes the way we dwell, the Bible says, lets us know this, right? It says, we are not ignorant of the devil's devices. We shouldn't be ignorant of the way that men move. And when we are, and we have to learn the lesson, when we learn the lesson, we come back and we be stronger next time. You know what I mean? I can't be crying and be saying I'm a victim to the devil. No. The Bible says I am not ignorant of his devices. Right? I submit myself to God and resist the devil and he will flee. I'm not a victim of the devil. So when things happen, I don't become a victim of the devil. My friend, no. No, don't become a victim of the devil. No. You know? I learned my lesson. You know what I mean? I learned my lesson. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying there can't be victims. I'm just saying the fact that a lot of times within that space, we try to be victim and then it's like, I'm helpless. No, there were things you should have done that you didn't do and you've got to learn your lesson. But anyway, back to the video.
And I was like, oh no, you know, he needs me. Oh no, I got to help him. And that was the only reason I even gave him my number.
What's the age difference?
2.5 years.
What, he's older?
I'm older.
So
I'm
you're
42.
older. All right, so you met him, you were about 29.
Yeah, 29.
Well, y'all got married at 29. Y'all got married about 27,
30,
28.
yeah. Okay, so 29, I got married at 30.
Yes. So so you met him around that age. Y'all were you in ministry at the church? Were y'all going to the same church?
Yeah, we went to the same church. I was a prophetic watchman.
I was a babe.
You was a babe in Christ.
Yeah, I was a babe in
So
Christ.
you was fresh out the streets, then
Fresh out the street.
just got saved, and you saw this woman and was like, you know what? When you saw her, what did you see?
When I saw her, I seen a person that was anointing, and I seen a person that, and I think at the time when I saw her, as I reflect back, I was broken. So through my brokenness, I look at women to help me be a better man in that sense. And so I looked at her and said, well, that she can be the one that can, we can get together, get married. She's anointing. She's in the church. I just got saved. God going, can put us together and we'll have a wonderful marriage.
When you hear her say that she felt like you targeted,
You hear that? A brother. Yeah. The brother was broken, bro. The brother was broken. And I knew that when and I said this, men like the gentleman here, they look for, and you know when I told you guys about the fact that there are men, be careful of men who have a very high sexual history, like they've got several bodies underneath them, and then say one a virgin. Be very careful of, I said to you guys, I warned you guys, I said, be very careful of those type of men, because this is the same spirit. The reason why is because they're looking for a cleansing. The cleansing won't come from the partner, it comes from you. Right? But you heard him with his own two mouths. He said, I was looking for a woman that would even help me be a better man. The moment I'm looking for a woman to make me a better man is the moment I'm already failing. I'm already failing. I don't need a woman to make me a better man. Will she make me a better man? Of course. But I don't look for a woman to make me a better man. You know what I'm saying? I don't look for a woman to make me a better man. And you don't look for me as a man to make you a better woman. You know what I mean? And so unfortunately, he had that broken spirit at the time. And by the way, he's interpreting his behavior through his journey now. So at the time when he's doing this, he doesn't know this. It's instinctive. At the time when he's coming after her, it's instinctive. This is also another thing why within Christian, which is also an interesting thing as well. Dating people that freshly come into the faith, I personally, I don't do it. I don't do it. Okay. When I was younger, I did it. I'll be honest with you. When I was 22, 23, 24, when I was fresh in the faith, I'm dating people fresh in the faith. When I got mature in the faith, I stopped looking at people that are not mature in the faith, because it just gets sticky. Because first and foremost, you need time to journey through the relationship with Christ and mature and solidify and have a foundation. And you know when people are fresh in the faith because they're just on fire. Shout. They just want to attack everything. You know what I mean? Right? This news getting into everything. And so I for me, I was left because, again, understanding that people need to grow and then solidify their faith with Christ as well first. And a relationship might be a distraction, you know what I mean? You gotta take your time, So he knew what he unfortunately was dating through his broken lenses, and he's seeing healing,
her in a sense and use her. Is that accurate?
That's not accurate.
What do you feel about that? When you said, I feel like she could help me become a better man, she looks at that as being a using spirit. You look at it as what?
I look at it as, now it could be a user spirit that's hiding behind that woman can help me. When you broke in the deception and you can't really see the deception, all you can go by is what you see and how you feel at that time.
At that time, because hindsight is 20/20. We all know that. So when you go back and you look at your intentions, I always look at the intentions of a person, or even myself. I go, if the outcome was I end up getting a divorce because I didn't deal with any type of idiosyncrasies or strongholds or brokenness in my life, yes, this is what led to that. But then my motive at the beginning, if my motive was still pure, then unbeknownst to me, I didn't know I had this brokenness that led to this. So I'm asking you, when you first looked at her, did you look at her with clear, pure intentions, not looking at her like, oh, she's a come up, oh, she's this or whatever, that you said, no, this is a woman that I really feel like we can build legacy together, that this is a person that I can become a better man with, like you said, because clearly if you're saying the reason why you're with her is because she can make you a better man, that's not using somebody. I mean, your husband should make the wife better and the wife should make the husband better. But when you look at your heart back then, can you honestly say that you had pure intentions, or was it ill intentions?
I had pure intentions, but immaturely, I wasn't prepared for what I was stepping
So the
into.
hindsight 2020 has said you weren't prepared for it, but in that moment, did you feel prepared?
I felt prepared.
Okay. See, this is the reason why I want to talk about stuff, because sometimes people, we get so far removed from it that we put our 40-year-old mentality on a 28-year-old mindset, and that didn't exist. So at 28, were you literally, this is my wife, y'all talk to y'all's shepherds of the house, they talk to y'all went through, did y'all go through premarital counseling?
Yes, we did.
And what were some of the things that they identified? Did they find any problem areas early on when y'all?
And that's the biggest problem that I find with men as well. And the thing is, if you talk, because obviously maybe the work I've done, yeah, when I talk to a man or a woman, I can tell by the responses where things are going, right? And so when I hear certain responses, especially from us men, right, about relationships and how they feel and what they're looking for, I can often see that, yeah, this guy is broken still. It's a way. And this is what I'm saying about, if you don't do the work yourself, and I'm not talking about him, if you don't do the work, it's very hard to spot somebody else who's also broken, because you're both broken. It depends whose brokenness is going to break who first. So, I would encourage anybody to start, and the work really is sitting down with self, slowing down and being like, what's going on with me? Now, a lot of times we get good information from dating. When we date people, we get good information. But the second thing also is we get great information from friends. And friends will let you know how you move according to them. Now, friends are the best thing because they are unconditional in their love, right? And so you can behave any way with your friends, because if their friend is willing to accept it, they're going to be with it. But they experience you through a different lens, right? So, so in order to get a full picture of what you look like, what you really look like, you need to hold up a mirror to that. And the way to do that is, one, sit with self, ask yourself key questions, review past relationships, ask yourself, why do I do what I do? Why do I like what I like? And trace those thoughts all the way back. And then the second thing is ask friends, ask family, what am I like? Because then what that allows you is people to see the weak points in your character flaws. If you can't already see it yourself. Me, I know I've got so many, you know what I mean? And I realize how I think, But yeah. Anyway, so let's move that forward. Sorry. But yeah, honestly, the brother, he knew what he was doing. Yeah, he knew he was broken, sorry, I should say, right? But doesn't know how to fix himself, and then puts all the pressure on her to fix him, because that's what he's been taught, right? That's what he's learned in the environment that he's in. He's learned that a woman's nurturing spirit is what can heal him, rather than actually doing the work himself. And that's the problem right there.
Our dating, that they say, hey, so-and-so has a problem with anger, so-and-so doesn't open up, and y'all need to work on that. Was there some things that they identified early on that were things that y'all, areas of improvement?
We talked about certain topics as far as having kids. That was like a kind of like she didn't want to have kids. And that was one of the red flags. But I in my mind, I was like, well, she's a woman of God. Eventually that would change.
Huh?
And you talk,
hold on.
the basic questions about sex and.
Wait, what? Oh my God. My brother said, listen, I thought that would change. When he looks back as to why this relationship didn't work, he's gonna be asked. There's no need to ask questions. It just is. It's there. She didn't want kids, but he wanted kids, and you did. What? You don't want kids, but I want kids. So why am I wasting my time with you, please? You know what I mean? Brother, why? Why waste your time? You thought she's going to change? Why would you think she's going to change? Did you think you were going to change her mind? Did you think you're going to be so convincing you can change her mind? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Yeah, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on. Come on. What made you think that you were going to be able to change her mind? right? A girl tells me she don't want no kids. I don't want to hear your voice. I don't want to know. Sorry, I don't want to know.
You know, and those things, but we never really got into the meat of everything, far as because everybody in the church was so excited about, you know, two men and man and woman of God. They're coming together. They know that we love the church. Every time they had the doors open, we were there, and so they love both of us.
What do you remember in those moments, Prevalia, during premarital counseling? What are some areas that they identified that y'all may need to work on?
Well, that's the thing. We didn't go into detail about areas to work on. You know, we talked about finances, we talked about sex, we talked about a whole lot of things, but they didn't really go into detail about things that, you know, we needed to work on.
So when they talked about finance, what they say then? They just said,
Oh man, this is bad. It's bad. And this is, you know, I had This Is Marriage on UK some time back, and we spoke about this as well, about Christian counseling in church, and say that it lacks. You see, just because you're Christian does not mean you should be in counseling. Just because you're Christian does not mean you should be involved in counseling. Some of you have not got a gift. You haven't got a gift. Some pastors have not got the gift of counseling. It's okay. Let somebody in the church who's got the gift of counseling counsel them. Some of you have not got the gift of counseling. Let somebody else be in there, man. Right? Let someone else be in there. What the heck? How are we not asking questions about the emotional aspect? Since they are in church a lot as well, they're in church a lot, then there should be people who have witnessed behavior. Do you get me? There should be people that have witnessed behavior that can say, this brother here got anger, or this sister here, she's weak in this area. This brother here is weak. They were in church a lot. For what then? What were they in church a lot for then? What's the point? If people can't even tell you about yourself. Well, I don't mean the church necessarily, but we don't have no database about you. And then even that, who's asking the questions in the beginning? Like, yo, so what's your thoughts on anger? How do you handle painful situations? What's your natural reaction? You know, all right. How do you handle difficult situations? If she says she can't get pregnant, how will you handle? If he says now he loses his job, what will be your response? Like, this is why people who have got a gift should be in these positions, not because you are a pastor, a preacher, a prophet. There needs to be somebody who's gifted in the area of counseling to be in these areas so they can ask these questions, because there are questions that could have been asked to at least begin a conversation between the two of them. You know what I mean? How are we not having no conversation about emotional care? Right? Finances, that's important though. Finances, sex is important. Those are also important as well. But how we're going to relate to one another, are there weaknesses within each other? You know, we've got to ask the real questions, you know, real questions about what are our weaknesses? What's your strengths? What's your weaknesses? You know, what will make you angry? What will make you create distance in the relationship? What will not make you feel safe? You know what I mean? Come on, pastor. Don't let me do your job for you, pastor. You understand? Don't let me do my job for you. You know what I mean? Nobody's perfect, by the way, and people can still get it wrong. I'm just saying, at least there was some questions, at least questions about...
They gave general stuff that applies to marriage as a whole, but not identifying, hey, you make this amount of money, you make this amount of money. How do y'all feel about the financial dynamics in y'all's marriage once y'all get married? And who's going to be the one responsible paying bills? They never broke it down like that?
Nope. The only thing they really focused on is, what are your non-negotiables, right?
What was your non-negotiables?
If you cheat, I'm gone. You know, I'm not going to deal with that, and I just wanted somebody that was honest and loyal. Those are my non-negotiables, and it was crazy because he didn't cheat, but that was one thing he didn't do.
So what was?
Well, hold on a minute. Why is kids not a non-negotiable? Why is kids not a non-negotiable? You know what I mean? Like, you didn't want kids, he wanted kids. Why is kids not on the non-negotiable list? right? No, this queen, he didn't cheat. 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 But why is kids not on the non-negotiable list? That's what I want to know, right? Why is he not on the non-negotiable list? Right? See, as for me, if you tell me you don't really potentially want to have kids, I'm not even trying to engage with you. I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? Thank you, Lulu. Thank you. I didn't want to say it again. You know, I don't want to be accused of just being a victim shamer. But if you are not gonna be strong on these things, don't look at anyone else. Look at yourself. You are also the biggest problem. Right? He was non-cheating, but he didn't cheat. Cheating wasn't their problem. Right? Cheating was not their problem.
What's your non-negotiables, Vincent?
Let me tell you the truth. I didn't know anything. I was so naive when it came to relationships. I didn't know love languages, and I didn't know non-negotiables.
Gosh, I know that's the biggest problem is that we get married. I did a whole TED talk about.
Wait, how the hell did he not know non-negotiables? No. He ain't about to get away with that. So you mean when they asked you the question, what are your non-negotiables, you didn't answer? I'm not saying that you knew, but at the time, did you answer? All we wanted to know was, what was your non-negotiable, sir? Yeah, we can't have this. What was your non-negotiable? You understand? That's the question. The question wasn't whether you understood it or not. What was your non-negotiable? Because
about this is that we get married, not even realize what the heck we getting into. We just get married. It's like we sit down, we talk to pastors, we feel like they can see what we can't see. So if they put their stamp of approval, then it's okay. Then if you're marrying us at the end of our marriage counseling or premarital counseling, then I guess that's God's will and God's gonna work it all out. And that is such a lie. It's such a lie. It's like we don't really get deep down into, like you said, we talked about finances. What y'all talk about? We just talked about finances. We talked about sex. What y'all talk about sex? Let me ask you this. What y'all talk about sex? What was the conversation the pastor had with y'all about sex?
I think it was how many times a day? Was it?
How many times a week? And what would, what are things that you're willing to do or not willing to do? It was just a whole lot of general stuff. And it was a mess. Because if I would have found out, because even, and I guess I'm just going to be real, like we didn't have sex before we got married. And once.
Ooh, Chile. They were dating for 2 years, no sex before marriage. They did well. I can't lie to you. They did well. Because as for me, I would have struggled. But the fact that he didn't even have sex and still madness occurred after 2 years. And he didn't sleep with anybody else either. Guys.
We got married. I was like, wait a minute. I was so excited about the wedding night. And this joker.
There's no X7.
This joker.
You know what you about to say, Vincent?
Yes, I already know.
I was trying to think of a good way to say it.
You say it so she don't uncover you. You say it the way you want to say it.
Keep it lit, in here. So pretty much I was selfish. Did my thing, but was selfish. She didn't get hers. In other words,
he rolled over and said, "You go handle yourself. Tell the truth, shame the devil." Okay.
And what made you say that, Vincent?
You mean to tell me the brother had sex, turned over and said, do you know what in my heart I'm thinking? The brother thought, just like I say about brothers who have multiple sex partners and then want a virgin, the brother thought, get married, get a girl that loves me. I'll be able to heal in that relationship. I'll be able to be a better man in that marriage, Okay. And then when you get married, the door shuts and you realize the magnitude of the mistake you just made. And now the cold-hearted individual, which was always there, has come fully to the front. Handle yours.
I mean, it's so many years ago.
Yeah.
But that was my 28-year-old mind.
Yeah.
So
Because I was a conquest.
Selfishness was my thing in my one part of my personality back then. Very selfish.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I want to answer this because I know she keeps saying you're a conquest. Typically, unless Vincent's some abnormal dude, a conquest is gonna be handled before you said I do. So with the fact that you said we didn't have sex before we got married, I don't look at that as a conquest because he would have smashed before y'all said I do.
No, he wouldn't have.
Why wouldn't he?
Because he knew I was a woman of integrity. There was no way for him to smash.
There was no way. No weak moment you was gonna have.
No, I wasn't gonna have one. That was like one of the reasons why I was even attracted to him was because he was disciplined. Like, that was attractive to me. I was attracted to him because he was disciplined. I was attracted to him because he was, when I look past everything else, he was a man after God's heart. Like he really was yearning for God. And so it was, there was no way. He knew that the only way he would ever have to be with me was that we had to get married.
And it was 2 years in the making. It took 2 years, 18 months for y'all to get married.
Yeah. And that's, yeah.
And he was disciplined enough to wait 18 months. And to your knowledge, he didn't have sex with nobody else.
Right.
Vincent, did you have sex with anybody else in 18 months?
No.
Didn't have sex with nobody else. Got married to you. You said he's disciplined and you...
Listen. "18 months, no sex." "18 months, no sex. Get married." And the brother says, "Get your own." There's something deeper. I need to know, because listen, and also as well, I'm not even trying to judge her. She took a lot of pride in saying, "There's no way he could have smashed. There's no way he could have smashed because this is my very integrity." And that is actually one of the ways that you get caught out. I'm just gonna say, I know you might feel like I'm being hard on her. It's because when people go through these things, I want you to sober up quickly, and so sometimes I'm a bit more harder on you, right? But when she was so confident that he couldn't smash anyway, that's not me. I said, "Oh, but darling, while you were saying he couldn't smash, you weren't looking at the other aspects, right? As other aspects, right?" Someone says she's more codependent. Oh, okay. Does she say a little bit about her past history? We can find out as well, right? Maybe we can find out as well. Yeah, we'll find out. Oh, crap! Almost went off this channel.
Still feel like you were a conquest?
I was.
Why? Where does this word come from, conquest?
Because the reason I married him was because he was like, I felt like I was marrying my best friend.
Right.
So we would talk, like he worked like crazy. He would work, and the only days he would have off would be like the days we went to church. So our relationship was real different because we only had phone time, and then we, just had just a little bit of time. So we didn't have a whole lot of time. So we were able to he would talk to me all night and then have to get up and go to work. And it was like, we developed such a friendship. And when we developed that friendship, that's what I fell in love with. I fell in love with a friend. And I fell in love with, his heart for God. But then when we got married, this Negro didn't talk to me for 3 years. Didn't talk. Or you wake up in the morning, like growling. I said, "You're growling."
What's she talking about, Vincent? What's she talking about when y'all got married? You just stopped talking to her. You were growling at her. What was that about?
It's almost, when I wasn't prepared for husbandhood. And so once the reality set in.
No, nigga. Sorry. I'm just going to say this. I hate this excuse that people make, men and women, when I wasn't ready for husbandry. No. Let's not say that. I really detest that. There's no such thing as I wasn't ready for husbandry as an excuse, right? Because being a good human being does not require you to be a husband. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't require that, right? At the end of the day, it does not require that. So that's not, for me, a valid excuse as to why we're in this situation, as to why you're not capable to do what you're doing. It's got nothing to do with that, right? Being a husband ain't no different from being a boyfriend. And what I'm saying by that is, the difference is, obviously, you've made a spiritual commitment, you've made a physical commitment, yes, and there is a different change now as a responsibility. But being a good partner has got nothing to do with the job title role. It's all to do with how you treat the person you're with, okay? Let's be honest for what it is. When he married her, he realized he did not like her. And I'll tell you what happened also. The difference between her and every other person, and why she feels like a conquest, partly there's some truth to what she's saying, is she, unlike every other woman, resisted him. And this discipline that she showed made him believe that he was doing the work. He wasn't doing the work. Now, that's my personal thoughts, right? Her having this great discipline of, I'm not going to let you have sex with me for 2 years before we get married, okay, created the illusion from him that he's doing the work, because one thing that's changed is, I'm now befriending you and I'm not having sex with you, so I must be changing. It became an illusion, right? It became an illusion, okay? So now he thinks he's doing the work, but he hasn't done the work because he hasn't worked on himself emotionally and the traumas that he's actually facing, right? At that point in time, that conjuncture. It sounds like he's doing the work because, he's resisted and he hasn't had sex with me. And do you know what? I can guarantee you he probably loved it, the fact that you resisted him, because what that was allowing him to do was partly have some growth, right? Everyone else hasn't resisted me. Any woman I've been with hasn't resisted me. I fall into sex. We fall into sex and then I fall out quickly. But with you, I've not done that. And maybe you are the right woman for me, because actually everyone else fell to my prowess, but you didn't. And I like this. I like what's happening here. I'm trying to, I like the fact that I'm having to have some resistance.
When you get together with someone that's anointing, and your anointing is not up to par with their anointing, you got to help as the head of the household, which I wasn't told, has to protect the whole household spiritually. Getting it, praying, reading your word, doing all those things. I wasn't doing those things. Once I got married, I got lazy kind of. Before I got married, it was more like I was in the word, praying.
So you was doing all that before you got married, said I do, and immediately stopped?
Not immediately.
Yes, immediately.
I can't say immediately.
Because she said the day after, on y'all honeymoon, you had an orgasm, looked at her and said, take care of yourself. Where did that come from? You waited all this time. You done got the cookies now. Y'all in covenant. God is blessing y'all. Then you go and say, I get mine, and then tell her, take care of yourself. Let's unpack that, because that's pretty deep. Where did that come from?
I think it came from me not being healed and being in relationships that didn't challenge my my true self. She's the only woman that I have been with that told me about myself. All my other dating experiences, it was, I see in the club, we get together, we hit it off, it might have a one night stand, and from that one night stand, we become boyfriend and girlfriend.
But how, I'm still...
What I say about this? All right, what I say? I said that when he dated the other women, he's hitting it right through. Okay, have sex, get into it, then all right, cool. But then with this particular woman, he encountered resistance, right? And this is an illusion of, I'm doing the work, right? And he's, by the way, he's talking about his past. He's saying his past, he had one night stands. He's not talking about her in the past, right? Yeah, and so now he's encountering this disciplined woman who's a prophet, who he's attracted to, and And really what's attracted to her is his brokenness in need of healing. That's what's really attracted to her. And so now when they get married, the door shuts, the veil comes up. The veil comes up. And now you can see it for what it really is. You don't like her. What you really wanted was the healing from it. What you really wanted was what you guys were building in the relationship stage, which was a friendship. That's what you wanted. That's what you needed. You didn't need her to be your girlfriend. You didn't need her to be your wife. You missed your assignment as a man, and you went into, and I know this because I've done it myself, where I got attracted to a girl, but it was my brokenness that was attracted to her. And God was telling me, slow the frick down, coach. But I got involved in the person because I missed my assignment, which was just be a friend. Don't let your loins lead you. Don't let your balls lead you. Don't let sexual energy lead you. Don't let flirting lead you. Don't think about a marriage lead you. Don't let the fact that she could be a wife lead you. Don't think about the fact you get along lead you. What did I call you to do? I called you to be a friend. And now you're in a situation where you're in a relationship. You both know you heard what God was saying to you. I'm going to be honest with you. Y'all know what God was telling both of you. You knew he had a usury spirit. He definitely knew that God was telling him to pause up and wait. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he heard. I'm sure he heard. Listen, someone said I think he's a social. I don't know if I don't think he's a sociopath. I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's a sociopath. There are broken people. I think we have to be. I don't like jumping to these titles straight away. There are broken people in this world. You included, and I included. Okay, I and you included. Right? We make mistakes because we're so invested in ourselves, and the Bible says we're not tempted by God. This is James 1. We're not tempted by God. We're tempted from within. There's something in you that is tempting you to go outwardly and go and chase that thing. So when both of these people met, there's something within themselves that's wrestling and seeing one another. The Bible says that Jesus said, listen, there is the prince of this world cometh and he has nothing in me. Meaning whenever he tries to tempt me, there's nothing he can tempt me with. Because I'm self-sufficient, my brother. Okay? I'm covered. I know what I'm about. I can't get tempted by the prince of this world because there's nothing he has that's in me. But you and I, the flesh is very strong. Even when we get born again, we remember the things of the past. So we can get tempted by sin. We get tempted by sin. We get tempted by past endeavors and behaviors. We get tempted by our ego. We get tempted by our desires. In fact, this is James 4:3. How he says, some of you are arguing and you're arguing over who's the best and who can teach and who can do something. And you're arguing because you have selfish desires. And a lot of times in relationships, that is what's happening. We've all been there. We've all been there. Not because the person was a sociopath, not because they were a narcissist per se. You and I were missing red flags. Okay? All right? And we failed to do the healing work possible and needed in order to make an educated decision. And now we're in a situation and we're looking at it and we're crying about it because we're reaping what we've sowed. Right? It's peak. It's peak. Let's go.
Trying to make sense out of this, Vincent. I want to know how. I don't want this beautiful story about how you in the past. I want to know what made you. This is your wife. You literally are disciplined enough. That's an area that I have never been disciplined in, is sex, and I still battle with that to this very day. But you were disciplined in that area. You were disciplined. You get married. You just talked about having one night stands, but now you meet this woman of God. You are disciplined for 18 months. Get married, ejaculate, then tell her, take care of yourself. I got to understand as a man to man, what made that come out of your mouth? What in that moment, go back as that 28, 29-year-old and go back and say, what were you thinking? What was that? What had transpired up to that moment? Was it a difficult wedding? The wedding day was all stressful and she was tripping with
the tourist said, you ain't about to get off that first night. You ain't about to. Because we need to break it down and you need to be honest with yourself. What's the mirror, sir? What's the mirror?
Flowers need to be here or whatever in the whole planning of the wedding. And at that point, you kind of fell out of love with her. And so now you're just going through the motions. I got to understand that because you talk to a man now. So what happened in that moment that led to that?
I think I just...
Let me ask you this. I'm going to go slow with you. Was up to that point, had y'all dealt with any type of turmoil? Like stuff that you felt like, gosh, this girl get on my nerves. I don't even know why I'm married in the first place. Did you ever have any of those moments in that 18 months prior to marriage?
I think she did a whole lot far as she planned her own wedding. She planned her own wedding. So that wedding week, she
did everything.
She did everything. So it was pretty much, I guess, one of the things was rejection. I probably felt rejected.
Don't say probably. You know how you felt. How did you feel?
Keep it lit. I was rejected.
I felt rejected.
I felt rejected. Yeah, I think that's what that came from. That seed came from that.
100%. See, the reason why
And I'll tell you this, yeah, he doesn't know 100% yet. He doesn't know. This is why therapy is such a powerful thing, because what therapy does is it asks a question that unlocks this mind as to why. You know what I mean? Like, this is what this whole channel is about, right? Asking the right question to ask why, because I need to understand why you're doing what you're doing. And he's starting, and I think it goes deeper than, I'm sure it gets deeper than this. This is the part where I actually stopped watching, so I don't know what happened after this, right? But he said obviously he felt rejected because she was planning a wedding. Now that shouldn't make you now on the wedding night feel so broken that you want to sex and then you want to leave it. That's one aspect. We need to go deeper than that. It goes further than that. This is not it. This starts at your childhood, first and foremost, all right? And then it goes on, right? So, yeah, there's something deeper that goes on. Yes, Jessica, I got to admit, the man is brave because he didn't have to do this. And she didn't have to do this either. None of them had to do this, but they decided to do this, and we're using them as a case study. So I appreciate that, right? So let's get back to this. Hopefully you can tell us.
I know this stuff is because I've experienced stuff like that. And then I know that you don't just say that to a woman out the blue. Stuff ain't just going great and you happy and this is an anointed woman, she can help me be better and all this. And the very thing when it comes to sex, that you get this woman and then you go, oh, take care of yourself. Like, and for you to be able to admit that that's selfish, yes, that's the surface level. But there's something underneath that caused you to want to disrespect her in that level. Because that's just not selfishness, that's disrespect. Because you got that. You're here now. You like, wow, I won. I'm here. I got this woman of my dreams. She rejected me. I won her over. I already see that she's going to make me a better man. Thank you, Lord, for finding value in me, to bless me with this woman. And here we are. We're about to consummate our marriage. I ejaculate and I look at her and say, take care of yourself. That's the ultimate level of disrespect. So I understand that it had to come from a place. So you felt like you were rejected in the whole wedding planning process.
Yes.
Was there anything else?
That's probably about it.
So you felt
Nope. There is something else. There is something more. There's no way. Let me tell you this now. There's no way. Let me quote me on this. There's no way that your rejection from the whole wedding made you on the wedding night want to sex and say, get your own. Because that is a spiteful spirit. Now, that spiteful spirit, where does it come from? It's not the wedding planning. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not the wedding planning. You're still not deep enough. We need to go deeper. We're still not deep enough. The wedding planning cannot be the reason why at the wedding day you sexed it and left it. There is something deeper. Because this is spiteful. In this moment, it's not just selfish, it's spiteful. So you did that, ended it, and it was like, that's something deeper. So the trigger might have been the wedding planning. The trigger might have been the wedding planning, but something has happened to you before this, sir, and I need you to go deeper. Okay? I need you to go deeper because we're not getting where we need to get to. This is not the answer. This is certainly not the answer that we need in order for you to understand why you did what you did. Right now, you're just below the grass. Okay? Yeah, just about below the graph. You know what I mean? So we need to go deeper. You know what I mean? We need to go deeper. He needs to give us the word.
Rejected. But the pressures of bills and not being able, how you.
Who was the breadwinner at that time?
She's the breadwinner.
Yes, good. See, now I'm understanding this. I'm understanding it because it just don't.
Hold on a minute. She the breadwinner too? She the breadwinner too? Listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's even a social. The guy is what men are. I keep telling you about men, yeah. Men oftentimes are, if they're broken, the ability to do damage to you is there because the consequences are not the same. A lot of times, look, men can hate you and still be in a relationship with you. Somehow, some way. The cognitive dissonance is wild, but they can hate you and still be in a relationship with you because you have something that I need. Your affection, your devotion, your love, your attention, your energy is still being given. I need that. I don't like you though. I don't like you. But that comes from a place when you're broken and that's what she saw. The spirit saw correctly, the user spirit. So I can still see all those things, and I can still dislike you. I can hate you deep down. I can be contemptuous towards you. I can be contemptuous towards you. But because you have what I need my healing. It's in you. I need you to love me. It's in you. I need the safety from you. It's in you. I need this. Because you have those things, I can still tap into that, and I can tolerate you. But when the wedding day came, post-nut clarity happens. Let me tell you something. After post-nut clarity, that's why you see. That's why I said, be careful before we say sociopath. A lot of us men have been there. You have sex with a girl, you're horny. That's all you were. You're horny, and after you have sex, you literally be like, some guy. You don't even think about her. Oh my god, like I've had sex. What the frick? I got to go. Yep, I got to go. It's late. Oh, yours. You know what? You deal with it. I appreciate you. I've got work. I got to go. Right? There are so many men who have done that. Right? Slept with a girl and they do not care about her feelings, what she wants after that. Right? Because the clarity that comes off is, what the fuck have I done? What the frick have I done? Why the frick did I do this? I know why I did it. I got mines, but when I got mines, I didn't even like her, bro. And now we betray ourselves, even as men, just like she is. Men also betray themselves too, because then he'll go back to her again. Like a dog going back to his sick, he'll go back to her again. Because why? I'm going to get the sex from her. But then after I've done it, I regret even doing it again because bloody hell, bro, I don't even like her. Like she's not even tolerable to me. You know what I mean? Like, she's not even tolerable to me. Like, there's a difference between I like you and I only want to have sex with you, and there's I want to have sex with you and I don't even like you. Right? So that's on a normal day. Men can do that. That's on a normal day. Men can do that. This brokenness can also enter into relationships, because where the brokenness actually is the need for emotional care and attention. I'm telling you now, something to do with his mom or his dad, there's brokenness there. They didn't give him no love or didn't give him attention or whatever. And this woman was now representing one of those parents. And so now when he engages with her, he gets what he needs in terms of the safety, the care, the emotional love, the appreciation, the worship, all of that, he gets it from her. And then remember, the sexting's off the table. Right? The sexting's off the table. So his usual medicine, his usual tablet that he uses to quiet the voices in his head, it's no longer there. But it's substituted now. It's substituted with this illusion of good work. Oh, I'm doing some work. I'm doing some work. I'm actually changing because I'm not having sex with her, and we're talking every day and we're having conversations and she's accessing a part of me I've never accessed before. He just needed a therapist. I'm honest with you. He didn't need love. He needed a therapist. And remember I told you guys, some people play roles in your life. They're not a partner. They're a therapist. They're a cook. They're a driver. They're your banker. Okay? All right? They're counselors. They ain't your partner. Right? They ain't their partner. Okay? All right? Jessica, don't worry. Stay in there, babe. Just make sure you healed and you can spot people that are not healed. You know what I mean? She saw it. She ignored it. And he saw it too. And he ignored it. So, well, I wouldn't even say he ignored it. He saw something, right? And saw how he could be healed. Right? He saw how he could be healed through this woman. Right? Remember we talked about women can end up being incubators for men's healing. Not in a good way, in a bad way, right? In a very bad way, women can become incubators for the healing, because remember, and do you know what it is? The nurturing spirit that was coming from her, I can almost, I'm really not guarantee. I can bet you there's something there with his mum. I can bet you there's something there with his mum. There's something there with his mum, because that nurturing spirit, you hate it and you want it at the same time. You despise the fact that you need it, but you want it. Anybody watch the show The Boys? If you've watched the show The Boys, anybody watched it? The Boys? That's a perfect illustration. The Boys, the show, the main character that's a villain is a perfect example of men that want the healing nature of the feminine energy, but also hate it at the same time. They hate the fact that it makes them vulnerable and it makes them weak. At the same time, they want it and crave it because they need it for validation. They need it for self. They need it to feel loved. They need it for safety and security. So how am I going to get it? Yes, Homelander. Right? Homelander. Right? No, he didn't wait 18 months for a quickie. It wasn't about a quickie. Yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't about a quickie. So, it wasn't about a quickie. It definitely wasn't about a quickie. It is about something deeper within himself. You know what I mean? It was something deeper. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So that's probably, and maybe that's why also, he was able to wait 18 months, because he was receiving what he needed in terms of that want and that energy from her, Oh, man. It's sad, man. But brokenness. Let's get back to, brokenness. Let's get back to it.
All that stuff don't make sense to me. I don't care about all that. I was this and had one night stand with this girl and all that. That don't make you tell this other woman, take care of yourself. Because a dude can go have orgies and everything else and try to make his wife have 8 orgasms in a row because he wants to prove his masculinity and be like, I'm going to make you do this. So when you look at that and you say that she was the major breadwinner, did that ever shift, or was she always the person that carried the bag throughout the marriage?
She always was the person.
She was always the person. Now we get somewhere. The number one thing, Prevail, is when a man can't provide for his wife on the level where he's the major breadwinner, he always feels a level of inadequacy. He feels inadequate in a level, and nothing you could do ever can bring that can patch that hole up. I don't give a damn. You could kiss him. You could cook food for him. You can make love to him until his eyes roll to the back of his head. I remember writing a post one day when me and my wife faced foreclosure in a condo that I had downtown Dallas. And I didn't really believe that he was order in households. Natural order, the man need to go.
We shouldn't have ever got there. You shouldn't have ever even proposed to me. You shouldn't have ever even got to the place where we even, because you were there before we started.
Exactly.
So don't go there if you know that's where if that's where your mind is.
You think he felt like he's gonna always stay there? You think he got married with you thinking that he'll never be able to provide or outperform you? Let me ask you this. He right here, Vincent. Did you feel?
Again, this is why I'm being hard on the lady, right? Every time she looks at the scenario, she looks at the fact that, if you knew you weren't gonna, why would you marry? Why would you marry? I need you to stop looking at him. Every time you look at him and you want to blame him, you are still in that. But you know what it is? I know, because this must be fresh. This must be fresh. I'm not gonna lie to you. This must be fresh because she's not looking at where she's contributed. She's only looking at him. And look, I'm not saying that he hasn't done anything wrong, but I'm just saying that she keeps looking at him. I'm like, baby, the way you're talking doesn't tell me that you're actually holding yourself accountable. Because if you would, the way you would say it would be like, listen, you know what? He shouldn't have been looking for me. But at the same time, why was I even looking there as well? You'd equalize the table. You start, babe, come on. Yeah, the brother. Okay, if he didn't have the money, why would he marry you? Why would you marry? Why would you marry? Do you think that he would? Why would you marry him then? He's if you think he's not up to your level, pal, why would you marry? You're betraying yourself. You understand? And if she doesn't learn this quickly, she will do it again. And this is what I'm saying. And if he doesn't learn this lesson about why, because he's not even giving us the truth. We're not getting the truth as to why you did on the first night. I need the truth. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. So, partly what he's saying, I want to break it down. So he said, okay, on the wedding night, he had sex and then he turned over, right? Okay, so if there's insecurity that's playing within a man, he's not making more money than her. We heard him say, this is number one. So one, he's not making more money than her. That's one thing. Number two, he also said, when somebody has more anointing than you, so he had less anointing, he feels, or less spiritual maturity than she did. Okay, that's number two. Okay, that's insecurity, right? Then she planned the whole wedding. Now we're getting a bigger picture of this. Then she planned the whole wedding. This brother fell out of control. He fell out of control. This is not an excuse. Listen to me very carefully. It's not an excuse. We're explaining behavior. He fell out of control. He felt like he had no leadership. Number four, he also said, I didn't know that as a man, you're supposed to be the spiritual head of your home. Okay? This brother, unfortunately, okay, all right, the insecurity was screaming at him, okay? Screaming. And because in all, and I've said this, and I'm going to say something. For men, not only financial issue being if you earn less than your wife, can it be a problem? It's not just that. The bigger issue is if the person can beat you in all corners as a woman, our misogyny, our pride, our ego will not allow it. Just going to say that straight. I'm going to say it straight. If there's too many boxes that a woman dominates you in, your insecurity is going to, it's going to fly. Spiritually, she beats you. What is this? Let's cancel that away. We're not here for any of that nonsense that person's doing. Spiritually, that person trumps you. And they trump you in the finances as well. They seem to be more mature than you emotionally. They are the one that makes the money. You know what I mean? Now she's controlling the wedding. What area do you dominate in? As a man, we want to be able to dominate an area. If he can't dominate one area, I'm telling you now, he's going to find a way to dominate. And that's why that potentially part of why he also, that sex night, he wanted to show her. Right? Because remember, they haven't had sex up to this point. That's my power play now. Right? That's my power play now. Remember, you was out here talking about how, I didn't give him nothing, and he wasn't going to get nothing. All right, cool. But I'm going to show you that this is where my power lies today. Because that's what insecurity does for us as men. For a lot of men, when they're insecure, there's a need to equalize the table. Do you know what I mean? There's a need to equalize the table. So now we're equalizing the table, and my equalizing on the table is I can't beat you spiritually. I can't beat you financially. I can't beat you emotionally. Okay, all right, fine. I'm going to use sex as a weapon now. I am going to withdraw sex from you at night. Get your own. At least now. And the reason why that happens is because in your head, you're thinking, I don't, it's not I'm trying to be necessarily evil, but it is evil. I'm trying to, I'm trying to keep myself from going mad. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep myself from losing myself here. Yeah. And I don't like the feeling that I'm feeling right now where I feel inadequate. I feel small. And I feel like we're not equals in this point. It's a me feeling. It's him. This is his feeling. She hasn't done nothing. This is his feeling. Right? I feel inadequate. I feel small. I feel unseen. I feel unheard. And I remember this feeling because it's probably happened as a child, the exact same thing. Right? The exact same feelings. So what that sex was a punishment. Yes, it was a punishment. And it was a punishment, but under the guise of his mind, he would have been like, you know what? I withdrew the sex, but and the reason why I can't fully explain it is because he never fully deeped it. I told you the story before. I told you guys about when I dated one of the girls back in the past. One of the girls asked me why. Okay, all right. Why is it? Why did she ask me? Why don't you tell me I look beautiful? And I told you guys the reason why I didn't tell her she looks beautiful is because I felt like if I tell her she's gonna look beautiful, she's gonna level up, she's gonna feel good about herself, and she's gonna leave Kojo. So I told her, oh no, you don't need to know. You already know that you're beautiful already. I don't want to gas her up too much. I don't want to gas her up too much. I don't want to gas her up too much. You know what I mean? It's so weird. I'm telling you, it's so convoluted. It's mind-boggling that your mind can think about that. That your mind thinks, hold on, I'm insecure in this moment. If I tell you, you look good. If I give you this aspect of me, right? Then if I do that, then you might gather the strength and leave me because remember, I'm feeling like there's an abandonment issue. Right? I feel like if you level up anymore, you're gonna leave me. Of course it's messed up. We already know it's messed up, guys. We know it's messed up. I mean, I've told you this is why I said dark arts is really dark. I know some dark things, right? So I can understand that where this comes from. That's why I said it's not a social path. You're not a narcissist. You're just a man who craves power and will do anything in that moment psychologically to win it. Right? So in his head, in your mind, all you're thinking is, if I now give you sex too, no, I need an area that I can control. Yeah, you can call it evil if you want to call it evil. I mean, yeah, if you want to call it evil, call it evil. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I've made my peace with my past already. It's evil. It's emotionally mature. It's dark arts. I know all of this stuff already. Do you know what I mean? Listen, I don't. Call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. But anyway, so the truth is, a lot of us have these insecurities. When you don't work on these things, this is what's gonna come out. You know what I'm saying? All right. For us as the individual, we're not thinking this again. We're not thinking it's evil. We're thinking, I just need to be able to equalize the table. I need to have some sort of power in this relationship. And that's why the money, that's why the wedding now becomes a bigger issue. That's why the wedding becomes a bigger issue, because you're now controlling the whole wedding. And I don't feel strong enough to tell you that I don't like that. But how can I tell you when how can I tell you when even the money situation, I don't make enough money? Right? How do I even do it? I don't make enough money to even tell you. Right? You know what I mean? All right, let's get back into it, man. No, but what I did was evil. No, I'd class it as evil. You know what I mean? I'd class it as evil. I think manipulation in general is evil. It is what it is. You know what I mean? All manipulation is evil, including some of the things that some of these ladies do as well. But you know what I mean? That's a story for another day. You know what I mean? We all have those problems. But I know that myself, there are darkness within myself. You know what I mean? Obviously, maybe I had a bit more empathy. But no. I'll be honest with you. And this last point before we go back in the video. Of course, I felt bad maybe within myself, right? But outwardly, I wouldn't show you that I felt bad. So if I was on this thing, and maybe some of the situations that I've been in, like for instance, when I used to do silent treatment, when I used to do, I wouldn't even talk. I wouldn't call for 3 days. You know, because I want to focus on myself, but partly also because I wanted to also as well create the distance so I don't feel vulnerable, I don't feel weak towards you or whatever, right? That all, if you spoke to me at a point, I remember my friend even asked me, he said, don't you think that's bad? I said, yeah, but it is what it is. So at that time, if you spoke to me at that time, you'd say, whoa, he's a sociopath. You know what I mean? Oh, damn, he's a narcissist. A lot of people are not narcissists, right? But they need to heal, and fast, and quick. You know what I mean? Fast and quick.
Feel like when you married her that you will never be able to outperform her financially?
Nope.
No bad things like that. We don't get married to be like, she gonna always make more money than me and I'm always be beneath her.
I think he felt like he wanted to use me.
Ask him what he felt like. Ask him.
We've had this conversation.
And what did he say?
He was broken. He didn't know what he wanted. He didn't know all of this. But that's the thing. You were broken, but you were built off me. I built you. I hate to say it like that.
No, it's the truth. And he admitted it.
But
what? There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. You have shown your true. You are listen, darling. You are in the same boat as him. You in the same boat. What do I tell you, guys? What did I say about building people? What did I say about building people? Huh? What did I tell you about building people? I said, if you build Frankenstein, won't Frankenstein kill you at the end? How are you complaining? You built a monster, you must also deal with the monster you built. Right? Now we're getting it. Now we're getting some deeper things in here. Oh, baby. The truth came out, it just reared its head just then, didn't it? You know, you want to say that he used you. Baby, you're projecting. You used him. Time was ticking for you, and you failed. And you what you talking about? Yo, if you build a bear, you build Frankenstein. If you build Frankenstein, Frankenstein will come and kill you. There ain't no difference. This is what I'm trying to say to you. There ain't no difference. There ain't no difference. She saw somebody who she could also have sometimes people do this where, You think you can, because Build-A-Bear is also ego. By the way, if anyone's out there thinking, oh, it's just me, I love people and I serve people. No, you got an ego. Okay, Build-A-Bear is ego. All right, just so that you don't want to mess around. It's also ego. In that, when you start building a man, you take pride in your work of building that man, right? And then you think when you built that man, that person owes you because you built that person. That's the problem with building people. Someone said Tony Stark on Ultron. Right? They're in the same class. Grace and Mercy, they're in the same class. They're in the same class. You build somebody thinking that they owe you. Your brokenness took you there. Both of you need help. It is egotistical. That's why it's come out now. This is why it's come out now. The ego came out straight out. So, but you built yourself on the back of I built you. Whoa, baby, what you mean? What you mean? How do you mean you built me? Whoa, baby, what you mean you built me? What you mean? Your own ego, your own arrogance, it comes up. Just your own ego and arrogance, his insecurity, his need, his brokenness and need. Both of you see each other. And so that whole I'm trying to use you, you're talking about yourself, not him. You keep pushing this out, he used me. You're talking about yourself. Right? And here's the thing as well. Here's the thing. All right? Yeah, thank you. I was going to say thank you. He's probably seen the same energy but went back there again. He's a problem too. Right? He's a problem too. He's a problem too. Because why did you go back there? Why did you go back to that same energy? Man, this is interesting. I didn't watch this part, so I never knew this part. I stopped watching about 5 minutes ago, so I didn't know it got to this part. Wow, just came out like that, and now she got. And I want you to pay attention. Look at the body language change, please. Look, I'm gonna scroll it back. I'm just gonna scroll it back. Let's just take it back now.
What a man feels.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if that's how you felt,
watch her smile. Watch her face.
You shouldn't have ever got there. You shouldn't have ever even proposed to me. You shouldn't have ever even got to the place where we even, because you were there before we started.
Exactly.
So don't go there if you know that's where you like. If that's where your mind is.
You think he felt like he's gonna always stay there? You think he got married with you thinking that he'll never be able to provide or outperform you? Let me ask you this. He right here, Vincent. Did you feel like when you married her that you will never be able to outperform her financially?
No.
No, man, things like that. We don't get married to be like, she's gonna always make more money than me and I'm gonna always be beneath her.
I think he felt like he wanted to use me.
Ask him what he felt like. Ask him.
We've had this conversation.
And what did he say?
He was broken. He didn't know what he wanted. He didn't know all of this. But that's the thing. You were broken, but you were built off me. I built you. I hate to say it like that.
No, it's the truth. And he admitted it.
But like this, that's what, like, cause that's the reality. Like, it was like, I wasn't building you for the next woman. I wasn't building you. You were being built up. Cause that's the thing, like the whole marriage, I'm the one, because he told me, he was like, and even before we got married, I already knew the story. I already knew he, he felt abandoned as a child and all these other different things.
Oh, I haven't watched this, but you know what? I love it when it gets confirmed. Listen, let me tell you, see, at the beginning, you guys were saying she. I was telling you, listen, nobody's really a victim here. I will say it again for you. No one's really a victim here. No one's really a victim here. I told you, no one's really a victim. In these situations, relationships like this, you're not really a victim. You're not really a victim. Not really. Right? There it is. There it is. Right? There it is. Okay? Look, they're both in the same boat. They're both in the same boat. All right? They're both in the same boat. And what's interesting now is, you know what? He built off himself on the back of me. And let me tell you something about this as well. If you've watched my video when I spoke about this, when I spoke about Build-A-Bear, I said to you that it carries its own ego when you build somebody. And then I said also with that, you you feel like a person owes you something, right? And when they don't do it, then you go like this. I take it back. Also, whilst you're in that space of building somebody, the other person who's being built can also sense your sense of entitlement. They can also sense that you're not being genuine in building. You're built. Listen what she said. I built him for who? Not for the next lady, for me. Not that she didn't. And look, of course, I'm not going to build you for someone else, but she didn't build him because she wanted to build him. She built him so she would have somebody. She built him so she would have somebody. Not that she's bad. Again, this is not. It is your behaviors doing this because you are broken within. The same way his behavior. And now she's about to give us the keys to the kingdom. She's about to break it down. She just said, "Oh, but the brother, I knew that he had abandonment issues." You knew a lot before you said yes. Why? And that's what I'm saying to you. Why are you not looking at it from a different point of view? You're thinking that you've been done dirty. You're not looking at yourself. Woo, Chile, this is deep. Oh, gosh.
And I married you knowing that story. So because of that, when things would happen, I would always say, I'm not going to abandon you. I'm not going to be that person. I'm not going. And I'm like taking a whole lot. Like this relationship was trying to kill me.
100%.
There's no way
100%.
I should have survived this. There's no way. No way. Like when I say like just because I was always pouring, and he gave nothing. When I say like, I would say, can you just encourage me? I just need encouragement. Just speak some life. Just, I gotta stop talking.
Prevail.
And guess what? He won't speak any life into her because he has to control, because he can't speak life into her because remember, there's two things going on here. So he can't speak life into her because the insecurity, if I speak life into you, I'm building you up and you may leave me. Okay. And number two, I'm definitely not speaking life into somebody who thinks they built me. You understand? Yeah. I'm not about to speak life into you so you can build me and have more strength. No. This is me now coming to I'm not about to build you up. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not blaming her for the whole thing, by the way. I'm only explaining what's happening. So I'm not blaming her the way. I'm going to explain what's happening. I'm just saying he ain't about to build you up. And then I told you it was abandonment issues, didn't I? I said this thing that he's doing, it always comes from abandonment. When you're scared to be abandoned, the insecurity kicks in and you can't celebrate, you can't uplift, you can't tell someone this. Because if you do, I build you up and you can leave me. If I build you up and you feel too good, you could end up leaving me. So that's what I'm saying to you. He was not going to build her up because he's got abandonment issues, number one. Number two as well, my insecurity is kicking in. I can't build you up and let you leave me. And then number three, you think I can feel that you built me. So I'm not about to give you any more encouragement to create more that's where it is, to create more distance, okay, between us in terms of our spirit, like let's say spiritually, to create more distance in terms of your anointing and my anointing. I can't encourage you so that you can get more strength to stretch the distance between me and you again. I already feel insecure. If I encourage you, I'm going to encourage you to move further away. If I encourage you to take that job, that's a 5K, 10K pay rise. If you go for that 5K, 10 rise, that's going to stretch me for more. No, I can't let you do that. No. So now I'm going to make an excuse as to why I don't want you to take that job. Truth is, I can't let you take that job because if you stretch it, if you go further and you get a promotion or you get 10, 20K or now you come and tell me, babe, I got a promotion today. And I'm like, oh, okay. I can't get excited because now that tells me you're about to stretch me. Right? You're about to stretch me. You're about to increase the distance between me and you in a particular domain, creating more insecurity in me. Sing, pray, love, man. Here's my contribution on this topic. The brokenness so peak. Yeah, I'm good solo with so small fun and experiences with hot men. I appreciate you. All right. So a lot of times our insecurity, it's about the gap widening. And when that gap widens, how does he react? But because of the abandonment issue, it's a more violent reaction. It's not good. It's not good. Yes, that's the reason why he chose her as well, because she was broken as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ooh, boy, this is deep.
Yeah, I need you to hear this.
We
Because you're
40
saying
minutes in.
everything that validates the major problem. He had nothing to give. See,
But why get married?
well,
Don't get married if you have nothing to give.
the reality is most people that
Because you using that's the okay. So I guess we're gonna kind of be in the situation where we're in this conundrum because in my mind don't get married if you don't have anything to give. Because in his mind he was like
that's beautiful. That's hindsight being 2020.
Right.
If everybody knew that, 50% of marriages wouldn't be in divorce right now. So what you're speaking to is saying, people, if you know this now, you shouldn't have got married 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. That sounds very logically illogical. Because people don't get married to get a divorce. Right. This man didn't get married with you to say, you know what, we're going to have these kids, and then about 12 years later, I'm going to divorce him.
He got married in order to be built. And I do believe, I think that's the natural, that's what I'm saying. I think that's the natural order of men, and men think that way. Like men think as users. And even if it's not your intention, if your intention is one-sided, like your intention is just for you, that's evil.
I need to know what she's also seen. I need to know what she's also seen. I need to know. We need to know her background, because this is not the lack of ability to comprehend that you are also at fault is really all. You're stating the very fact that you also are looking from a now privileged percentage, and you're not looking at the fact that you're seeing it through a different lens. He's also seeing it through a different lens. He didn't know. He didn't know that, he didn't know that he had nothing to give. You know what I mean? I don't want to say that he doesn't have nothing to give. I wouldn't even say that he has nothing to give. That would be a wrong terminology. Everyone has something to give. I think what we're saying is, he didn't have what he needed for you. He didn't have the resources for you. You know what I mean? I don't think we need to say that he didn't have nothing to give. He didn't have the resources for you. And this spirit, I'm telling you, it's in the relationship. I'm going to be honest with you. I know people are going to like it. But this spirit, how she's talking about it, he had nothing to give. This is the same thing that he was talking. I'm telling you now, this was also happening in the relationship. I can guarantee you it's happening in the relationship. The arrogance was also in the relationship. I can guarantee. It doesn't just come out. Look, you don't just become. Do you understand? You see, some people get hurt, yeah? And even when they're hurt, they stay true. They don't change the way they do it. And some people, when they get hurt, it looks like they changed. No, they were always like that. Like, oh, my mouth gets sharp when I get hurt. No, you have a sharp mouth already. You only need a trigger to take you there. Do you understand? It's not coming out of nowhere. I didn't suddenly develop into that. That's how you were, all right? So there's something there that she hasn't told us about her past life. We need to know what happened. Something in her past life also has contributed towards this attitude, right? Something about it. Because she really, there's Build-A-Bear, and I can feel some control in here, And I'm not even saying that she's manipulative. I wouldn't even say manipulative. I would say that she didn't realize the dynamics of relationship that she's also deploying herself. You understand, right? Yeah, it's interesting to see this now. They're both broken people. It's interesting, and
like that's like one of the things, and that's like God, the way God speaks is reciprocation.
100%.
And if it's not going to be something where I'm giving and I'm receiving, give and give and you shall receive.
Yes.
Knock and the door shall be open. Like that's the nature of like who God. Yes.
Yes.
So it's like one of those situations where I married him to give. I married him to love him through it. I married him to pour. I was willing to do that. I knew that was going to happen when I married, but I didn't know that his mind was just to take. I didn't know that. I thought he loved me too.
I did. The episode what you did with Josh, and he said something. He said he was kind of like broken, and he used that to manipulate women. And I kind of resonated with that a little bit because of the fact that, but the difference between that was I did not know it was manipulation.
Of course. You would never know if you're in the midst of it. And you say, looking back at it, that's what you feel. Did y'all go through marriage counseling throughout these 12 years?
I wanted counseling. He wouldn't do it.
I felt the same way how you felt, Lateris, when you said you always thought that, why would somebody want to know about my business, or how can they tell me what to do?
It's nothing but pride. I was full of pride.
That way.
Full of pride.
Yeah, he's a problem. He's a problem too. Because when it could have been worked upon, he didn't want to work on it. You know, when it could have been worked upon, he didn't even want to work on it. Sir, that's also pride. You see, two prides working together, but this is ridiculous, bro. Like, if you're in the midst of your marriage and things are not going right, the help is going to be there. She's offering a solution where there could be help, and you decide to reject it. Here's the truth. A lot of times, and I've seen this up close and personal. Not only is it pride, but the truth of the matter is you don't want to be seen. You don't want to be uncovered. You don't want to be exposed. Which is what he kind of said, right? You don't want someone else to see you for what you really are. The darkness that you're carrying. That's the truth, right? Because why not go to therapy? At that point in time, the relationship is failing. So why not go there? Because if I do, someone else other than you will see how broken I am, and that will expose me, and that will embarrass me, and I can't be embarrassed. Nah. So you gotta do better. Gotta do better. What's going on here? Gotta do better. You know what I mean? You know, I don't want to judge any of them too, but I'm talking about the behaviors. You know what I mean? You don't want to do the counseling, and you know, because you know that this will actually literally expose you. It will expose you.
And in our communities, we're not taught as men to go seek counseling, and which is the biggest problem in our culture. Now I'm glad that it's become such, it's not taboo anymore. Therapy is very necessary, and therapy, you're not looked down upon it. Matter of fact, I value a woman more if I'm dating her and she says she goes through therapy. I'm like, oh, great, wonderful. And so that's a badge of honor now. So I understand, Vincent. So when you look at, how did we get to this moment? What, after he said that conversation with you back in February, then, no, let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning part. They talked about not, you said that you didn't want to have kids, right? Why didn't you want to have kids?
Because I didn't want to be here.
You didn't want to be a what?
I said, because I didn't want to be here. Like, it's real crazy.
No, say it. You said you want to be here.
No.
What's here?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you making me share my crazy with the world. I don't want to share my crazy.
Well, that's what it is. Hey, you want to share Vincent crazy? We know it's two sides of the story. So say it in the best way you can.
Okay, so prophetically, I remember my heavenly experience. Like, I remember the experience before I came to earth, right? And so because I remember the experience before I came to earth, I remember being like in heaven, and it was like this being came and said, you know, we need somebody to go to earth. And it was like, it's hard to explain it because, you know, it's heavenly stuff, right? But it was like 4 of us, and we were sitting like cross.
Close as mic as possible.
Okay.
Look at me, talk to me. Stop talking out here.
Okay. All right. So it was 4 of us, right? And so we were sitting like cross from each other, and I was kind of like, I was me. So I'm just the way I am now. I was that way in heaven. And so I remember saying, I don't know what they're gonna do. I ain't going, right? And so it was the person who was sitting across from me, or the being that was sitting across from me. They were like, you know, I'll go. And I was like, yeah, you know, good. I got somebody, right? And they didn't move. They were like waiting on me. And I was like, and it's like, you know, it's like you're not talking, but you're thinking. And so I could hear them saying, you are the person that can accomplish this task the most. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want to go.
So hold on. So you're saying, so at what point did you have this vision? Was it a vision or a dream?
No, this happened. This was something. So
it's something that happened.
So it's hard to explain it because you are, you know, we're here, right?
Hey. I'm not here to judge, you understand? I'm not here to judge, but when I hear the story, red flags are doing red flags. Okay? Red flags. All right? Okay? Because as Christians, if someone tells you they had an experience, she's not saying she had a vision. She said she experienced pre her life before on earth. Yeah. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to sit here and agree with that. You know, because just from a spiritual perspective, biblically, we haven't heard of anybody. No, she's basically. Do you know? We need someone to go. Is what they said to Jesus. Like, it's you know what I mean. Sorry. What's Jesus? It's what they said to Isaiah. You know what I mean? Like, but at that point, Isaiah was alive already, and he saw a vision of the heavens, and the heavens had said, and in the heavens they said, "Who shall we send to go?" But Isaiah doesn't say that he had that vision and he knew it was before his life on earth. Oh, you know what I mean? So it's hard for me, and we don't even know what her faith is. Maybe she's not Christian. Maybe she has a different faith. I don't know. But it's hard for me to sit there and be like, oh, without going, what's the story? You know? So this it's a very similar story to what, and I'm not calling her fake or anything. I'm just saying to her, it's a bit wild for me, right? Okay, now obviously, let's just listen a bit more.
But before, like God says,
Wait, hold on. And she said as well, you're gonna have me here looking wild. So she knew the story was wild. As for me, when I tell you a dream, I'm not going to tell you, I can say it's wild, but let me tell you something, but it's within the confinements of the faith. Like, can I tell you something? I had a dream the other day. I had a dream yesterday. Yesterday, guys, I dreamt of Lori Harvey. I had a dream I was talking to Lori Harvey. Yesterday, I was speaking to Lori Harvey, and I said to her, Lori, I need to fix up, okay? All right? I need you to fix up. You know what I mean? Fix up, Lori. Okay, these games that you're playing, okay, if you want to play the games, just know what games you're playing. Just know what you're playing. That's what I said to her in a dream. That was it. I woke up, and that was it. What about my business, okay? All right? So, listen, we know there's spiritual experiences. People dream, people see things, people have visions. Hey, you know what I mean? Yeah, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But, anyway. Lori, contact me. We have to come and talk. Contact me. Anyway, let's go.
Before you were even in your mother's womb,
So what I'm saying, when you got this memory, when you got this epiphany, this revelation,
I had it. I had it when I was a little baby.
So you were a little baby. You came into this world. Remember that moment.
Remember, because I hid it. I hid it in my heart. Like when I decided, because you have to make the choice. Like nobody's gonna force you. But when I decided to come to Earth, I said I got to hide this in my heart, and I hid the moment in my heart. But I was wishing, right, and this is going back to the question why I didn't have kids. I was wishing that I didn't have to come. So I was like, I wish my mom would have made the decision not to have me. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what,
So that's what you felt. And then you.
Get out of here. Get out of here, man.
It's just a lot for me. I'm trying to be sensitive, because to hear someone say that they chose to come on Earth is to say, it's really odd because, okay, so she chose to come to Earth, but then her mother chose to have her. Hold on, let me review that. Let me just go back. I don't want to misquote. Hold on. I'm not even being rude. I just want to.
So at what point did you have this vision? Was it a vision or a dream?
No, this happened. This was something. So
Oh, it's something that happened.
so it's hard to explain it because you are, we're here, right? But before, like God says, before you were even in your mother's womb, I
So
knew you.
what I'm saying, when you got this memory, when you got this epiphany, this revelation.
I've been had it. I had it when I was a little baby.
So you a little baby. You came into this world. Remember that moment.
Remember, because I hid it. I hid it in my heart. Like when I decided, because you have to make the choice. Like nobody's gonna force you. But when I decided to come to Earth, I said I gotta hide this in my heart, and I hid the moment in my heart.
Hold on, she decided to come to Earth. Do you know why I'm a bit concerned as well? Because it sounds just like Jesus, and this sounds just like Ephesians. Is it Ephesians 2? Am I saying correctly? Ephesians. Am I on the right scripture? It's not Ephesians. It's not Ephesians. What's the scripture where it says that Jesus thought himself about not being equal to God, and then literally he made himself lower than the angels and came to Earth, right? That's what it sounds like to me, almost. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, so it's a bit weird about that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. So she decided. That's why it's a bit weird. So something's not quite right. She decided, not God, and that's a bit. Ooh.
But I was wishing, right, and this is going back to the question why I didn't have kids. I was wishing that I didn't have to come. So I was like, I wish my mom would have made the decision not to have me. I know it's not.
But why? Because if you decided, then you chose it, right? If you decided, you chose to come. But then you're saying that you wish your mom didn't have you. Why? Because you chose to come. Unless you're meaning that you regret the decision to go, then that's different. Wow. This is wild. No, we need to address this. We can't, Mika, we can't pass this. This is also part of the thing. We cannot pass this. This is important information. We cannot pass this one. We have to decipher it. I'm also a Christian here, so I have to deep this one and get deep with this one. It's not free.
I'm crazy, but that's what
So that's what you felt, and then you felt that I'm not gonna do the same thing for my kids. I ain't gonna
do the same thing. I ain't gonna bring them here to this world.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you this: as crazy as that sound, I talked to a friend last week, a week and a half ago, that said that she doesn't want to have kids because she wouldn't want to bring kids into this crazy world. Mm-hmm. Now she didn't say.
Do you know what? I love Latirius. Latirius said, "I'm gonna leave that alone. And I'm a make it practical." I spoke to a woman that also didn't want to have kids, but he left the spiritual way. Yeah, okay. Someone said, "I bet she's been abusive." Do you know what? This is me speculating, and I don't want to, I don't want to trigger anybody or trigger even her if she watches this video. This is us speculating. It might not be true. It's not the truth, but I also got the same. Sing, pray, love. I got the same thing as well. Just saying. And sometimes the mind, when I say about things, the mind can do some things. And you know what I mean? To make, okay. Okay, she says she's never been abused. It's late in the interview. Okay, fair enough then. Okay, then it's on her own validation then. Okay, cool. All right then.
She had a whole vision about it before she was born and came into all this or whatever. People have to smoke weed to understand what you just said.
But it also as well, because she said she had this vision in her as a baby and she hid it in her heart. Would she even know if it was done as a baby? Like, I'm just thinking to myself, this gets deep. Like, sometimes the mind tries to make sense of things. You get what I'm saying? Like, it... Okay, anyway. No.
But other than that,
but see, okay, so let me just clarify, because it's a lot of people don't understand. So this is prophetically, right? When the Bible says many are called, but few are chosen, right? And the difference, because you have, the few and the chosen have the same anointing. They have the same level of, just authority and power. The difference is the chosen don't have a choice. The chosen, you make the choice before you get here, and so you're going to do what God says do. And so because of that, like, I have in my life just had a lot of hard knocks. And so, yeah, I can't, it's very difficult, because it's like you just go back to
them places.
Yeah, those places. And it's, and so like, that's why it's very difficult for me to trust people.
Right.
And so when I trust, I try to like really give my heart. And then
Perfect.
he
Let me
just
ask you this
gets
real quick.
broken.
Does he know about a lot of brokenness that you've experienced?
Who?
Your husband.
Nope.
Only what he found out before we got married. He did not, when we got married, he just stopped talking. He stopped caring.
Have you experienced sexual assault?
No.
Have you experienced abuse?
Yeah.
Physical abuse from, well, you might
no.
want to,
Oh, I'm not okay. I hate to say it like this, but I can't be abused. I'm not that. I don't have that spirit. I can't. No, I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior in the spirit, and because of that, I was crazy. Like growing up,
So you're the one that was abusing people?
I was abusing people.
You was beating up
I
people?
was beating up people because because I had so much rage and anger.
From
because,
what? That's what I want to get back to, because there's something we unpack.
You see, there is deeper lining issues. There are deeper lining issues. There are deeper lining issues within her her perspectives, and those underlying issues have led to her actions also ignoring some of these red flags as well. Maybe she too was looking for a man that she could also hide her trauma in as well. Unfortunately, the brother beat her to the punch. You know what I mean? Which is why I keep saying that. She keeps saying about being used. Maybe you also too are thinking about hiding your trauma in somebody, but you can't. But there's definitely more. Man, there's definitely more underneath the surface. There's definitely more underneath the surface, right? So something's not cooking. There's something that we need more.
Of brokenness and of abandonment.
And also as well, what's this? I cannot be abused. Who told you cannot be abused, darling? If you're a young child, you're defenseless. You can't do anything about that. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, if there just gets more. You know what I mean? There's more. Yeah, there's more. Grace and Mercy, I only called the guy broken. I never called her any names. I only said that I also said she's broken too. I didn't call her any names. The same way I didn't call him any names. Relax. Okay. I'll relax a little bit. All right. I said both of them are broken. All right. Grace and Mercy. All right.
With him, where's the heartbeat of your trauma?
My father.
Okay.
And that was, and it's one of those things. Like a lot of people, I think a lot of the things that I picked up, it wasn't even mine. It was I picked up my mother's pain, and because I picked up my mother's pain, it was like I had her pain and then my pain too. So when my father wouldn't do, like he would just like leave sometimes days at a time and things like that, and it affected me in such a way, and I think it was because I was aware. Like I always had this awareness, and that's neither here nor there, but I always had this awareness, and because I had this awareness, it's like I longed for my father. Like I wanted him to be, in my life. I wanted him to do for me. I wanted him to, and he just was never there. He was in the home, but not
In the home.
Yeah.
So he was in there, but not emotionally present. Well, Sha, I think we solved the crime. The crime is this, okay? He's emotionally devoid and devoid is not the right word. Emotionally distant, emotionally unavailable. You were trying to long after your father, who was also emotionally unavailable. You saw his energy. He saw your energy. You both met. What did I say earlier on about brokenness finding its level? What did I say? I said when I was dating people, I was emotionally unavailable, and I was choosing women that were also what? Emotionally unavailable. I have not said anything. There it is. Okay? There it is. Okay?
I said my daddy was present and absent at the same time.
Yeah. He was definitely.
So you got married. You had this. How did it turn into such anger where you took it out on other people?
Because
So you said you watched your mom be, was she been physically abused or just emotionally abused?
emotionally.
And you took that, because you're an empath, you took that and you started being angry where you started taking it out on other people.
I took that, and the anger that I had for my father turned into hatred, and the hatred turned into rage. So I hated my father from the time I was 9 to the time I was 25.
9 to 25. What happened at 25?
It's interesting because God is so amazing. And So my mom has 4 girls, and all of us, we lived home, and we, went to college. We did our thing. Well, my sisters, all of them were gone. My mom had moved out the house, and my dad had an accident where he needed somebody to take care of him, and I was the only one.
So God healed y'all's relationship by you being the one to actually serve him.
He healed it through service. I served him to healing. I served him to healing, and it broke all the hatred. And I still had a little bit of rage that I had to deal with, but it broke the hatred. And the crazy part is that's my best friend today.
Wow.
Best friend.
And so I remember the DM that you sent me. You said that he was everything that you despised about your father. You married your father.
I did, and was trying not to. And that's the reason why I was searching for somebody that was disciplined, because that was the things that I wanted was the things my dad wasn't. And I was intentionally trying to get somebody that I didn't have, because, didn't have to worry about, right? And so because you had a heart for God, because you wanted to be,
Brilliant comment, Beverly. You guys are bringing some great points as well. She's trying to serve her husband to healing because she keep doing stuff for him, even when he doesn't reciprocate or even pay her any mind. And there's a hope that if she does what she did for her father, him too as a husband, same thing would happen. Repeated patterns. Okay, beautiful. I love that, because the father that she healed and healed their relationship, that came to fruition. That's probably why she stayed 12 years. She was probably hoping that it would be healed in time. If I stay long enough, it'll be healed. The truth of the matter is, again, relationships like this, if you weren't called, the calling to heal was to be a friend, not to be a partner. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Rage comes from an unforgiving spirit. It will eat you alive. Absolutely. Someone says she's overly spiritualized. I do agree. There's a part of overly spiritualizing the situation. This was also a good example of what happens when people don't take time to heal before marriage. Absolutely as well. Okay, it's making a lot of sense now. It's making a lot of sense. I can't lie to you. Let's go.
Just in the, in the church, that's what I thought.
Why say that's what you thought?
Because that's what he was doing.
You said be in the church. That's what you thought. So he showed you a 1 year.
Okay, guys, just this is just this little thing. It just came to me. Okay, it just came to me. All right. She is the anger she's feeling towards him, I think, is an overspill from her father situation, right? Not to say that she may not be healed per se, but I think we're starting to see the same thing happen again. But clearly she chose somebody else just like her father. So clearly I don't think she's actually fully healed. So I think there's an overspill of anger which is misdirected from the father to this man here. When I say misdirected in the sense of he's getting an overspill. Not that he's not getting it right. He's getting what he needs to get, but it's an overspill. And I'll just tell you, just this little, and it's so minute and so tiny. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm just overdoing it. But I've started to realize when you listen to we've had 51 minutes of this, and if you listen, the language she always uses when there's a spirit of blame, always. And then now we know her father's situation. I can see why, right? Just slightly want to go back, just slightly listen to what I'm gonna say.
Just in the, in the church. That's what I thought.
Why say that's what you thought?
Because that's what he was doing.
You said be in the church.
Pause. You know that little part there, yeah, because that's what he was doing in it. You know what it reminds me of? You ever heard a kid when you're telling them what you did was wrong? Yeah, but he did it. That's the same energy she used in that moment. It was like literally just popped up to us like, oh, it's like you're not taking, they don't want to take the blame for anything that's happening. They are blaming someone else for the issue, right? That same, oh, but there's no, it's like when you tell the kid, Austin, stop, you did wrong. No, but it's because stop, you did what you did, right? So you know what? If she sits down and just watches it again and maybe takes some time for herself, she'll be able to maybe look back and be like, okay, there's some parts I just need to own. And again, I guess it's still, yes, it's the ego. Honestly, it's the ego. there's part of her which the ego is causing a blindsidedness to the way she's processing information. That's a bar. Do you know what? I wouldn't put it past.
That's what you thought. So he showed you a 1 year, 8 month history of being in the church. He stopped going to church after y'all got married too?
See, okay, so it's a lot of stuff that we didn't unpack. And one of the things that, like, when we got together, this man would walk to church because he didn't have a car. He would walk like miles, and just every day, like that the church opened. And it was like, to other women that probably been like, what? To me, I was like, wow.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right? Look at that heart for God. Like, that's so amazing. And it was, it was like, that's the thing that was attractive. It was like your desire, your heart, your willingness to go above and beyond and be, like to be in the presence. And that was just attractive. And then, we developed a friendship, and I shared my life, and I told him things I never told people because I don't talk about me. Like, I'm very private, which is why this was so difficult, right? But I want people to be healed. I don't want somebody else to have to go through this pain.
Vincent, how do you feel hearing her talk like this? This is not foreign to you. You heard her speak like this before?
Yes.
How do you feel hearing her say that, knowing that she's not a public person and she's allowing the pain to help bring healing to other women and even men that may be ignoring some of the signs that should give you pause before saying I do? How do you feel hearing your wife speak like this and break down?
I encourage her to keep being that way.
How do you feel about hearing her say that?
I don't feel anything.
Exactly. Why don't you feel anything?
Because I don't know. Can't answer that.
And that's why, not only, even when you made the response about saying that I've never loved you, she knows you never loved her. So even when you came back the week later and tried to cover it up, you couldn't cover up the truth. It's biblically what happened with Pharaoh is that God began to move. And the Bible says God.
Listen, can I be honest with you? Yeah. Can I be honest with you? That guy, he needs more time. When, like, I know Latour's got a time schedule, so he needs more time. Like, the question needs to marinate with him. This question will not, some of the questions that he's going to get asked, he will not be able to answer it right now because it's too soon. What I mean too soon is that it requires an answer right away and it has not been processed yet. It needs to be processed. And then he needs to know he needs a safe space. Like, he won't be able to answer the questions. So he literally, so when he said, I don't feel nothing, it's not that he doesn't feel anything, but the response you're looking for, I don't have the response you're looking for. And the reason why, again, is because you actually haven't thought about it all the way through. He needs help to be able to uncover where the thoughts are coming from. Therapy is needed. Right? And the answer we're going to get from him in private will be different to when we get in public. Because the truth is, the answer he gives in public, if he gives an answer that's true, it's dark. And I don't know if he's ready to give that kind of answer yet. Right? I don't think he's ready to give that answer yet. Don't think so. Right? So I think, I honestly, Chile. Yeah, I think he's gonna need a lot of help going forward. Guys, I'll do a part 2, but it's gone 2 hours now, and I'm like, right, it's gone on long. So I'm gonna have to cut it there. But this has been one of the maddest conversations. I'm gonna try maybe I might finish it off later on tonight. I'll see. But yeah, he's got a lot of soul searching, a lot of therapy, a lot of mirror work to do. He's got a lot of mirror work to do because he needs answers. Like, you can tell that he's deeped only a part of what he thinks. And even the answer he gives, can I be honest with you? Do you know what? I remember a situation, right, where I remember a situation where I was talking to someone and I was talking about the fact that I felt like they pretty much cheated, yeah. And when I asked them why, the answer they were giving had no real depth to it as to why they're doing what they're doing. And I tried to get it out of them, but I realized without someone doing deeper work, you won't be able to understand. Do you know what I mean? So there needs to be, sometimes people can say like, oh, I cheated because I felt the way I did. It's like, but it can't go underneath that because they don't have the language, number one, all right? And number two, there's a lot of mirror work that needs to be done to be able to tap into why a certain thought has come. You know? And that's why some people, when you ask them certain questions, they can only give you surface. They haven't done the work that's essentially there to be able to bring about the depth to be able to see themselves. And that's very difficult. You know what I mean? It's very difficult because he can't see himself. So, yeah, it will. And that's why yeah, it's also like he's got a numbing there, and that's why he was able to. He said, "Oh, I watched the thing with Josh, and when he mentioned about this and this, I resonated with it." And so sometimes people are watching things like this, and this is how they get the answer out of them. The answer's there, but they don't know how to. They don't know how to express what they're feeling in that moment. So it's not that he's not even feeling nothing. How do I bring this out to you? I don't know. I don't have the language for it, and I don't fully understand it. And then when someone breaks it down and then brings it, he's like, oh, that's it. I see. That's what I'm talking about. I think he needs one of those moments. You know what I mean? Boy, it's dark. But yeah, we knew there was some abandonment issues with him. I could tell there was some abandonment issues as to why that power grabble was happening. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, and Memi, this is it. You know what? And that's where I came up with the thought of. And the funny thing is, I knew this anyway from the very beginning of that relationship, so it's my fault. But again, understanding that some people just can't give you something they don't have, right? So when you're talking to somebody, you're able to gauge what level of depth they have. And the question is, when you're asking them questions, can they comprehend? If you know they can't be comprehending some of the stuff, the level on different levels, it can be very difficult. And I'm not even talking about intelligence. I'm talking about self-awareness. You know? But because he's been so quiet for most of the conversation. He's been literally quiet for most of the conversation. He's been sat in the same position a majority of the time. You know, even when he's talking. It's yeah. Whew. Yeah, man, that's a lot of work. You know, it's a lot of work. But yeah, listen, guys, I will be back. Don't worry, like Arnie said, and we'll drop deeper into this topic again. There's another 15 minutes to go. Boy, man, you know what I mean? Man, it's interesting. This is deep. It's deep. But listen, like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell button again for notification of the uploads. We appreciate you guys. We'll drop a part 2, I promise, so we can get deeper into this as well. Much love and appreciation. Maybe I'll go and read some stuff as well, see if I can get a deeper understanding for you guys as well. Much love, appreciation, and we'll see you again very, very soon.
Devil's Black Book. You know what time it is.